Hi, welcome to the Knit Shift episode 85. My name is Laura. Today is Monday, March 13th, 2017. Show notes can be found at theknitshift.com. I'm on Ravelry as Yarnstormer. I'm on Instagram as Laura Mahalski. And we do have a group for the podcast over on Ravelry. If you go to the groups tab and search for the Knit Shift, you will find us. So do come over and join. We have a knit along going on in the Rav group right now. It is the Love Yourself Cowl. It started February 1st and it goes through late March or late April. I haven't decided yet. Don't really have my planning together, sorry. It is a chance to knit yourself something. The only requirements are that it is started after February 1st and that you use at least 50 grams of yarn on the project. We have a lot of cool prizes for that. I don't have them with me right now, which tends to be the case. As you might be able to tell, I'm recording on my phone today. I'm flying by the seat of my pants just a little bit. So I don't have a lot of stuff next to me. This will be a pretty quick episode. So I was out of town this weekend on short notice. I became an aunt. It's official. Olivia Claire arrived on Thursday, March 9th. She came 11 days early. She's doing great. Mom is doing great. Dad's doing great. They're all home now. So I went to Ohio on really short notice and got to meet her when she was only about 8 hours old, which was fantastic. So I'll talk more about that later on. But I'll have some photos to share and video of just a cute infant being cute. And I promise I won't bombard you guys with a ton of photos and video on this. I'll try and I include, there is some knitting to talk about today. Not much, but there is some. So let's get to it. So I have one work in progress to share with you, and it is the Star Wars sock that I'm working on for my brother. This is what I worked on most of the time I was in Ohio this weekend. Last week I was right here at the end of the red stripe, so I have knit all of this since about 5 days ago when I recorded. Who knew that when I recorded and was talking about I didn't know when I'd be going to Ohio, but I wanted to have a sock ready. My sister-in-law was actually in labor, probably as I was talking about that, so that's pretty funny. So I really love how this is working up. This is Mustache Yarn Star Wars sock yarn in the R2D2 colorway. And this was a set of her perfect sock, which is 2 perfectly matching skeins. Technically the real colorway name is Part 1 Droids, and it's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and it's 440 yards. So I really like this. I was glad I got to work on it next to my brother. Even though, you know, obviously the baby was the big focus, he was like, man, those socks are so cool. Oh, that is the softest yarn I have ever felt. So he was really excited to see the stripes working up and see just exactly that, you know, it's not an evenly striping sock. It's kind of uneven, the 15 stripes. So he's really excited about it. So I really like it. This white is a Loopy U sock yarn. They sell put-ups of about 220 yards, 200 yards thereabouts, and it's perfect for contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. I think I made that same malapropism last time, and this is just a nice solid white. And I'm using size 1 Hiya Sharps. This is my first time using Hiya Sharps, and I have to say I love them. They are ridiculously sharp. They are not to be trifled with. I love working with them. They're really smooth. The join is smooth. I love the cable. I can see why these are a big deal to a lot of knitters, so I really like them. And that is my only work in progress this week, you guys. This will be a really brief episode, but this is really the only thing I worked on. I drove myself, well, I'll talk more about that in a second. Here is the yarn all caked up for the socks. Here's the cake I haven't started yet. And here is the cake I am knitting from right now. You can see I'm very close to getting another red and blue stripe, so I'm almost back to the beginning of where I started in terms of the color repeat. So really like this yarn quite a bit, and I can see what the fuss is about Mustache. So yeah, I uploaded last week's episode on Wednesday night, and fully expected to do any final publishing, any odds and ends on Thursday morning. Wednesday night I stayed up till about 1 a.m. because Josh, my partner, is working crazy hours because of a tax deadline of March 15th. And it's not a individual tax deadline, it's a business tax deadline, just for the record. So I stayed up to see him, and we went to bed around 1, and he usually gets up around 5 or 5:30, and he apparently had to try to wake me up 2 or 3 times because my mom had my family had texted me about my sister-in-law going into labor, and my mom texted Josh because she knows he gets up really early and said, "You might need to wake up Laura. This is Megan's proceeding along pretty quickly." So I had previously told you guys that Saturday is a really difficult day for me to miss at work. And when he woke me up and I finally woke up, and I even said, is this a dream? Is this real life? And Josh said, yes, you really should get up. Megan's in labor. Then of course it was like 0 to 60 and I was awake and wide awake and oh my God, what am I going to do? And it took literally 3 seconds to decide, well, I can't wait until Sunday. I'm going to drive to Ohio right now. It sounds like she's going to have the baby this morning. And I'll just drive back Friday night and go to work on Saturday. So I was fully prepared to drive round trip on Thursday and Friday. It's about 570 miles. It's about 10 hours if you drive straight through. It's about 8.5 hours if you drive straight through. But with stops, it ends up being at least 10, more like 11 hours. So, especially when you're on your own, I like to stop every hour and a half or 2 hours for a little break. So I decided to do that, and on the way, I tried to find someone to work for me Saturday, and thankfully someone did. So shout out to my coworker Tim, who picked up my shift for me, so I was able to stay 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, and I drove home Sunday. So the drive up flew by. I didn't get any speeding tickets. The baby was born. I left at 5:45 in the morning. The baby was born at 8:55 a.m. And all the while my phone was buzzing with photos, and it wasn't until I stopped for lunch that I could get to see photos of her. And so I sat in a Wendy's in Charleston, West Virginia, eating my spicy chicken sandwich and crying at how beautiful this baby was. I was just so happy, and I went to Panera for breakfast on the way out of town in Newport News, Virginia, and I told everyone, I'm driving to Ohio. I'm going to be an aunt today. I was just so excited, and I'm still excited, but hopefully slightly less obnoxiously so. I went to the hospital in Columbus, Ohio, and got to meet the baby, and she's perfect. She's got a lot of brown hair. She doesn't have a baby toupee, not quite that much hair, but she has a solid head of hair, and it was enough that the nurse was able to part it. She gave her first bath on Thursday night, just a little kind of sponge bath in the nursery, and my brother and I were able to go watch it, which was really fun, through the glass window. So I stayed at their house Thursday and Friday night all by myself. Of course, my brother stayed at the hospital with Megan, my sister-in-law. I went back Friday, and I got to spend a lot of the day with them, which was such a huge treat because, they knew I drove so far, and they wanted me to maximize my time with her because I'm not going to see her again for probably 2 or 3 months. So I got to hold her a lot and just cuddle her, and I changed a diaper, and I got to rock her to sleep, and I got to hold her for like an hour straight while Josh and Megan both napped on Friday afternoon, which was just such a treat. And I took a break from the hospital. It was 60 degrees Thursday, and it was about 30 degrees was the high on Friday. So I just bundled up, and I walked to a nearby restaurant for lunch, and I gave them a couple hours break for me. My parents came in with dinner Friday night from P.F. Chang's, which was nice. And they came home Saturday morning, and I had, if I may say so myself, I had a really good idea Friday night. I decided to make some prints of the photos I had taken. And I went to Kohl's and I got some frames and set up a nice little display when they got home, because I thought, well, we can all show photos on our phone to people nowadays, but he's going to want to have a photo on his desk at work when he goes back to work. I went and picked them up lunch Saturday as they were coming home from the hospital, and I think I held the baby while they ate their Mexican food, which was a treat. Then I stayed at my parents' house Saturday night, and my parents and I had a nice dinner out. And then Sunday morning, I drove back over to my brother and sister-in-law's to keep Megan company. My brother had to grocery shop, so just so in case she needed anything during the hour he was gone, I came over, snuggled the baby, and left to drive home Sunday around 10 a.m. So I got home around 9:30 at night. It was a crazy whirlwind of a trip. I caught up on a lot of sleep last night, and I also took a nap this afternoon. And I will make sure to insert a few videos here at the end of Olivia. She's just so sweet and perfect, and I am so excited to be her aunt. It literally occurred to me this morning that in a few years I could teach her to knit or crochet, and oh my gosh, it made me so excited and perhaps a little emotional. So I hope she's ready for adventures with her Aunt Laura, because I know I'm ready for them. So I think that's everything before I get all verklempt talking about what a sweet little baby she is. So without further ado, here are a few videos of Olivia, and I will talk to you guys next week, hopefully with more knitting progress. Bye! Oh, and I just want to say one more thing. Thank you all so much for your kind words about just celebrating my excitement about the baby. I know babies are born every day. They're born every minute of every day. But it is really special to have your first niece born, and my parents got their first grandbaby. So thank you so much for putting up with my excitement and even embracing it. I really appreciate it, and it means so much to me. So thank you so much. Okay, that's really it. Bye.